Goodbye, Kamala. Nice knowing you. Your joy was taken by Bret Baier nonetheless. I'm surprised that interview ended that way. We will be watching the interview together because I think it's important to see. But she did not look good. Here are some of my favorite moments from the interview. I took some pictures. Can you feel the joy? No, you can't. This is a face of, if you don't shut the, I'm gonna lose it. I'm Kamala Harris, I'm spreading my joy so hard right now. Feel my joy, feel thy wrath. Another one of my favorite pictures that I took. But it turns out that Kamala Harris and everyone behind her were waving their hands. Stop the interview! Stop the interview! It's not going over well! By the way, this is a joke. Little fun Derek O'Shea headline. Little fun headline. So apparently, the interview was cut short. She came in late. All the above. Let's listen to Bret before we watch the actual interview. This is absolutely insane.
You know, when the kicker in football, they call a timeout.
Yes.
Right before he's going to kick the field goal.
Sports
they're
analogy.
icing the kicker. So we were supposed to start at 5 p.m. This was the time they gave us. Originally, we were going to do 25 or 30 minutes.
Okay.
They came in and said, well, maybe 20. So it was already getting whittled down.
Crap.
And then the vice president showed up about 5:15. We were pushing the envelope to be able to turn it around for the top.
Kamala Harris showed up late. Hold your racial stereotypes to yourself. Okay? Thank you. Her joy is wrinkled and saggy, says Willie. What's up, Junior?
To 6 o'clock. So that's how it started.
Okay.
And I could tell when we started talking that she was going to be tough to redirect without me trying to interrupt. I did this with President Obama. At one point, I just said, Mr. President, I know you like the filibuster. I just didn't even have the chance to sometimes redirect in those ways. I had a lot of other questions.
What Bret Baier doesn't understand is that
poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Thank you. Somebody had to say it. But the cope is in. The cope is absolutely in. I mean, you have everyone on Fox News just like, they're stereotypical leftist libtard.
You did a great job because you asked the tough questions and you went back at her with tough questions, and she should be pleased with how she performed this evening.
No, she shouldn't be pleased with how she performed because
You ain't black.
she didn't do a good job. Even Kamala Harris herself probably feels that way. Here's her reacting to her own stream. Hey, Kamala, how was the interview? How was the interview? Can you spread some joy over here? We're lacking it. We would love some joy. Kamala! Kamala! Kamala, are you okay? Is everything okay? Everything okay? It's over. What's up, Axel? Alenga F on Kick. Streaming on Kick, just for funsies. I'm feeling joyful after the interview, says Todos. Yeah, me too, man. Dude, can you feel this joy? I mean, look at this joy. This is the joy of walking up the steps. How much is the dream? I can't even read it right because it's so ridiculous. How much? Shout out to Ian Sams. Somebody's got to stay in the bubble. If you're going to stay in the bubble, you got to be committed to the bubble. You can't just have critical thinking now. You got to stay in your Kamala bubble, and it's got to feel good. How much is Team Trump freaking out about the Vice President Harris going into the Fox Lions den and schooling them? I don't know what you watched, Ian. Shout out to bold guys everywhere. Trump War Room, top advisors, Jason Milleran and Tom Murdoch, all alone tweeted 40 times during the interview. thou doth protest month. No, Kamala Harris said, oh, shoot. Kamala Harris did a terrible job. Robert says, I'm just gonna orange man bad every question. Is a bold strategy, Cotton? Exactly. Listen, Donald Trump is horrible. Donald Trump is Donald Trump. And do I have to say anything more than that? No, I don't. I'm Kamala Harris. I'm spreading joy everywhere. JD Vance coming in with the hot jokes. To my Democratic friends, maybe you should consider swapping Kamala Harris for Joe Biden. You can't do that, JD. You have to have an election first. You got to elect them democratically because they're all about democracy. They're all about democracy. Nobody spreads democracy harder than the Democrats. They're literally spreading hard democracy. Let's hear CNN's first take on this.
She has no answer for why Biden and Harris threw out Donald Trump's executive orders and changed.
Can we just talk about this look? What is her look? I will sleep with all of these boys on here. That's like such a deviant look. I'm so happy he's back. The potato man himself. Don't know your name, and that's racist. God. Called out here, but I don't know your name either because you're white. And I don't pay attention to white people. Okay, keep going. Talk to me, CNN.
Has no answer for why Biden and Harris threw out Donald Trump's executive orders and changed everything, and then a flood of people came in. An ounce of humility here would go a long way, and she doesn't have it in her to do it, and she has no real answer other than to blame Congress. And Bret was right. Democrats controlled everything when they took over. And so is she saying it's the Democrats' fault that the immigration system is broken? I don't understand this. I don't understand why she can't just say, hindsight here, we shouldn't have done it. I think the American people would actually accept.
I love the liberal talking point for the whole border situation is like, we put a bill out there. I don't care if the bill was crap. You guys didn't want it. Donald Trump said he didn't want the bill. Okay, so I want to watch some of this interview with you guys because I think it's important to actually watch some of this because I didn't catch the whole interview. I'm going to be completely honest. I caught like 90% of it, and what I saw from it was absolutely hysterical and nuts. So if you have already watched it, I apologize, but let's hang back. Let's watch it. You might have missed something. Let's watch something together. Put in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on her getting absolutely shellacked by Bret Baier. Mr. Golf himself.
All over the country. It's good. Among likely voters, that flips the Democrats' 2-point edge in September.
I'll make myself smaller.
Now, to my exclusive interview with Vice President Harris. Madam Vice President, thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Problem.
It's good to be with you, Bret.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election.
Just one.
And specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries.
Yeah.
How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have.
And why is that?
And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Yeah. Can you give us a
Bret,
number? Do
let's
you know
just
math?
get to the point.
Okay.
Okay. The
Thank you.
point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
Wow.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished.
I'm doing my talking point.
It's a rough estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
I'm going to lose it.
When you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial.
Yeah, but Trump.
So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress
was
before We worked on infrastructure before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the CHIPS and Science Act, before the bipartisan safety.
Has inflation been reduced? Has anything? What has the infrastructure bill done? And so, what will a border bill do for them? Okay. Thought I would clear that up for everyone.
Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath,
just a quick hour,
was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
Amnesty.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the. Yes, ma'am.
He said it. I'm so glad. I haven't seen this whole interview yet. Bret Baier actually said it. That bill was an amnesty bill. It was like a pathway to citizenship. They're like, oh, we'll fix the border. You know what we're going to do? We're just going to make all these illegal migrants legal. It's fixed. I fixed the problem. Look, we're just going to legalize murder. Therefore, we won't have any murders left. It's science. Use your brain. God, do you guys even know how math works? I'm speaking words. I'm speaking. Yeah, but Trump. Yeah, but Trump. What's up, Springsteen? I remember when Trump opened up the border. Do you not?
Our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the. Yes, ma'am.
May I finish?
Will you let her finish?
But
you have to let me finish.
You had the
please.
White House and the House and the Senate,
I'm
and they
in the
didn't bring
middle
up
of
that bill.
responding to the point you're raising,
Okay.
and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sorry. My bad. Are you gonna freaking kill me? Are you gonna send your husband in here to slap me silly? I loved it. He said, yes, ma'am. It's like a butt punching moment. Yes, ma'am. My bad. My bad, B.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority.
Yeah.
For us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill.
Yeah.
It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I
was about to say. I was waiting for it to go, which I myself have prosecuted trans criminals. I was waiting for her to say that. Oh, like, please say you're a prosecutor of trans criminals. Say it.
Allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion
such a stupid talking point.
The American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue, but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted.
Yeah, and she's not playing, oh, where's my camera? She's not playing political games by doing exactly the same thing. The political game is, we gave a border bill. We gave the bill. You guys didn't want it. What's your problem? Donald Trump said he didn't want it because the border bill was crap. Why would you vote for something that's crap? It's like, just because in the title it's like called Border Bill or Inflation Reduction Act doesn't actually mean what's inside. It's like reading the news. This is new to some people. People don't understand that you don't have to title a bill about what's in the bill. It's just so dumb. Prosecute trans crabberries, scourge, even a scourge.
Against that bill, it would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been that bill, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened.
What is going on with this?
For you in Georgia, saying if those men had been, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. These men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Bret,
those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that.
Very.
There's no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true.
Okay.
It is also true
Whose fault is it?
that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more.
Right. It's the bill's fault for border security. What is going on with my camera? What is going on? It's the freaking bill's fault for our border not being able to prosecute and carry out laws already on the books. You had to have that bill. Such a stupid talking point. Just the law. If you come in here illegally, you can't be here.
Border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure
process these
that
people
no
is what
future
really is
harm
what she wants to happen.
would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we
Derek, did you see the accent change? I missed it.
have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Bret.
It wasn't a
Vice President,
solution.
It was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Ooh.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungari's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days.
Did you
so
see
do
that,
you
Kamala?
owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I am so sorry for her loss. Sincerely.
Then do something?
But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about
about Trump
as well.
Yeah, but Trump.
In all fairness,
but
I
Trump.
told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration, even before. Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist, they will tell you, we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that's going to get.
That we can never have a serious conversation about the border until we actually just lock it down. I mean, we should have guns. We should have everything pointed at people. You shouldn't be able to walk across there. People should be afraid to cross our border. I mean, that's just, if you have a very serious country and you don't want criminals or drugs coming in, it would be a point of emphasis. You know, we just gave another like $200 million in weapons packages to Ukraine today. We did that today. And we have a wide open border, and they're like, we just can't figure out what to do. Put the military at the border. What? What? Doesn't that seem like what a serious person would do if they're worried about crime and worried about illegals coming across or bad people coming across from other countries like terrorists? That's what a serious country would do. But until I actually hear that kind of rhetoric or that kind of thought process, I don't take any of these bills seriously. Like, it's just like, it would be like you keeping your door open all day and you're just like, we just need more people to just watch the door. It's like, close the door. Close the door. Maybe lock the door. Maybe get some firearms. It's like, no, we need more people strategically watching the door. We need to make sure they're watching the door, and that's how we'll stop people from entering in our room. I'm purple hair. They lost me back in 2016, said Violet. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's because you can still have honest. You can be honest. That's what it is. $450 million. They can't even fix Ukraine's border. Yeah, well, why don't we just have the same border as, I don't know, Palestine? No, or as Egypt. Dems are getting 20 million new votes. They ain't. Oh, no, absolutely. I totally agree with you, Robert. This is all about new voter base. And Hillary Clinton has said it himself. The stuff we've been talking about, the replacement theory. And it's not a white thing. It's just an American thing. And there's been more reports coming out about the jobs numbers and how the jobs numbers are not indicating Americans getting jobs. It's illegals getting jobs. I mean, migrants. Sorry. Not sorry. It's all about replacement. Americans aren't having babies because inflation is insane. People can't afford homes. People you can no longer have a one-parent home where a parent takes care of the kids and then the other parent goes to work. It's just too expensive for most places in America besides Oklahoma. But then you have to live there, no offense. But Oklahoma's great, okay? I got family there, it's great. But not everyone wants to do that. And so they're like, oh, you guys aren't having babies? Fine, we'll just flood the border and we'll replace you guys anyways because we need workers and it's all about our corporations staying happy. I mean, that's what it is. More agents to stamp their hands on the way in. Exactly, Willie. It's like if we just had more people to process, we wouldn't have a problem. You wouldn't even realize how many people came across the border. It's so stupid.
It's fixed, Brett. Well, that's how the system works.
That's the premise of this question. There were 90-plus executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it.
Oh, really?
They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done.
Or do they want to do their own job?
These men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said at 2019.
It's like working a job. It's like being a barista, and they're like, sorry, we don't have any coffee beans for you. And you're like, well, why am I working this coffee shop? You're like, yeah, sorry, no coffee beans for you. I mean, they're not allowed to do their job. I mean, could you imagine going to work every day and just like watching people come through and they're like, hey, please let those people go. Okay, don't look into that. Don't do your job. So it's demoralizing. You get to a point where you're like, why don't I even show up to work anymore? Nobody likes being in a job where you feel pointless doing it every day. It's demoralizing. Your soul is sucked out of you. It's the worst. Self-dunk on herself.
when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
Listen, that was 5 years ago. I'm a new Kamala. I'm a different kind of Kamala. I'm a joyful Kamala. Kamala that everyone's pumped up to be around. Look, I have hot sauce in my purse. We're not going to enforce laws, but now we might. The border's a serious issue. It's 2024, and it's an election season, so I have to say this sort of things. God, that was absolutely insane.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law.
Yes.
So do you support that?
Oh, Bret, how dare you?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
But you're not.
So decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
Okay, then what's happening? We're not decriminalizing it. We're just not looking at it. They get a ticket. We give them a job. We give them a free place to stay. We give them a cell phone. We give them free health care. Look, they're not criminals, okay? Absolutely ridiculous. She is cooked.
So these are evolutions that you've had.
No, but let's be very clear.
Be clear.
I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel to the Guadalajara cartel to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people, and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm, and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
This is
all right, Miss Border Czar. Kamala Harris is very serious about the border. Look at this face. You're not coming here unless you want to. And that's okay if you want to. God. I love what she says. I take it seriously. No, you don't. Shut up. If this is you taking, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You take it seriously. If this is you taking it seriously, it is, okay? Did you hear about the singer of One Direction? Censor Mom, how dare you bring that up? Don't make me cry live on stream. Yeah, I heard about that.
a time when vote.
I wash collard greens in the jacuzzi, Bret. Yeah. Maybe I should I make a video this Thanksgiving of me making collard greens in my bathtub? I need to write that down. I'm gonna totally do that. Okay, collard greens in my bathtub. Okay, with like soap and stuff. Okay, sorry.
Voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. Yeah. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Oh, sex changes?
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
Oh, how dare you, Bret.
Are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed.
What?
You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries.
Well, you know what? You got to take
responsible
for what happened in your administration.
Yeah, no.
Oh my God. What a quote, Kamala. Hello, come on down. You have to take responsibility that happened in your administration. What kind of responsibility are you taking, boo? Boop. Would love to know your responsibles. What kind of responsibility are you taking? Okay, let's keep watching. What a freaking quote. You got to take responsibility for your administration, okay? What about under your leadership? Hey, that's Joe Biden. I don't have anything to do with him. My hands were tied with Joe Biden. I was like trying to fix the border and Joe Biden was like, no. I feel like we're like on the verge of something like that coming out. Yes, I will follow the law cover. Yeah, but Trump on repeat. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Surgeries happened in this presidency.
It's in black and white.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassessment surgeries?
I will follow the law, just as I think Donald Trump would say.
This is Fox News. I'm not going to say yes. Are you crazy? Of course yes, though. I feel like that's what her inner dialogue is saying.
Did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think he spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas, at $20 million on that ad.
Wow, 20?
On an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, it's really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They say
on plans for the American.
You know what that does show, though, Kamala? And if I could just be so bold with this, it shows you're absolutely crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy, and your administration is going to be crazy, and your whole party is crazy. That's what it shows. That's what the effect was, and it worked because people started talking about it. You're right. I don't care about trans people in jails but people started talking, and that's what you don't like. You want it to all be a secret, just like the FBI scrubbing their crime statistics and putting out saying that crime is actually up. And I'll get into that in the morning. That's going to be the live stream. I'm breaking that down. Thanks, FBI. I trust you.
People, I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone of America's economy. I am offering a plan that is about taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need. My plans for the economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated my plans for our economy would strengthen our economy. His would make them weaker, would ignite inflation, and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
Crazy.
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready.
That being said, Donald Trump sucks. I love when people on the left do this. They're like, we're sick of Donald Trump and his divisiveness. Can we get him in jail already? Can we do something about his family? Put him in a camp or something? He's literally Hitler. But he's the one being divisive, not us. We're just stating facts. You're like, okay, you're nuts. You're freaking nuts. This was probably her only strong moment. Violet, you're not supposed to be positive. Okay, I'll keep listening.
To chart a new way forward, and they want a president who has a plan for the future.
It's true.
And a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cut to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be?
Great question.
And what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change.
Laugh, people.
But
Hello.
also, I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes in to office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector, and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing. Addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders.
BlackRock's like, yeah, can we get the federal government in and start making homes for us that we can buy up already? I want to hear from her grandmother, says Ringsting. No, you don't. Which one, her housekeeper or her grandma? Her husband has big enough hands, so says the girl that slapped across the face. And you forgot the most important detail, BKL. She spun around. Trump will put them in jail. That's because you'll be in jail. All right. I think it's going to get crazier.
Including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years. So what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we have been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other. Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American...
Yeah, just ask her husband. He will beat down anybody. Especially if you're a woman. Derek, sorry I'm late. Boom. You're forgiven. If Kamala was a fish, I'd throw her back. That was her nanny. Yeah, her nanny. According to Candace. Yeah, that Candace Owens stuff with Kamala Harris is very interesting. I kind of love it. Let's go down the rabbit hole. I do love this idea that like giving people $25,000 and credit to buy is all of a sudden going to fix your problems. Really? Is that really going to be the solution to us having to buy all $500,000 for our first-time homes? No. Okay. So what's the solution? I can't figure it out.
That suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
Madam Vice President, more than 70% of people
that is
tell
about
pollsters,
turning the page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Come on, don't say that. My favorite thing is that you'll see all these leftists like, do Republicans not know what a vice president does? You're like, okay. God. Do you not know what an election season's about? Okay, let's just keep going.
You and I both know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
yes,
people
you're the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president, one that he is unfit to serve.
A bunch of neocons. All these people that want to go to war with whatever country we tell them to go to. Are you guys pumped up that those people are supporting me? The general's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
That he is unstable, that he is dangerous, and are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends instead of the American people. People are tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within.
Yeah, and that being said, those MAGA extremists, we got to do something about them, right? God, the enemy within. Yeah, you'd say the same thing. My side is different. My side's about joy. God, that is pretty wide. Let's get a little shot. All right, let's keep watching.
Talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today, Harris Faulkner, at a town hall, and this is how he responded.
Ooh, fact check by...
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Bret, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you,
I'm going to fact check you.
He didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about...
Yeah. Who has gone after somebody for peacefully protesting? I don't know.
Locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the president of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is...
God, that was nuts. What was that? She's getting crazy, dude. I'm sorry. All I can think about was that freaking song. This is the democracy! I was about to start moshing in my house, dude. I was literally about to start moshing. I was thinking, don't make me start dancing in here. I want to go back to that. That was nuts. That was wild, dude. Her bipolar just kicked in. Yeah. Well, she got triggered by a word. What is that? What is that where you get triggered by a word and all of a sudden like the CIA that programmed you kicks in, you can kick people's butts around you? I forget what that is. What is that? Somebody in the chat will get it. You guys are smarter than me. She wouldn't last 5 minutes in New Zealand with all the sheep.
Turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States
Robert
of America.
Pickles Nichols super chatted $5. She went nuts when Bret made her watch a clip of Trump. It's like a bull seeing red.
It was like a bull. Thanks, Robert. I appreciate it for the $5 super chat, my friend. She went nuts when Bret made her watch a clip of Trump. It was like a bull seeing red. It truly was. Like, how dare you show that clip of him? Honestly, guys, I want you guys to know this and remember this. Yeah, you can see some overlay of mud vein on her right now. Yeah, 100%. This is what's going to happen after the election. If Donald Trump does win, dude, the TDS is going to be nuts. I think it's going to get violent. I think the left is so violent. You always hear the left talk about how the right is so violent. It's like, shut up. No, there was like one instance, and then you're like, oh yeah, we'll just dismiss the entire summer of love or entire autonomous zones being taken over, or like the firebombing at the White House where they took over the church, and like it's just like, I remember watching that, or just like people running around, put your damn mask on. Okay, who's the violent one? A bunch of Christians that are praying to be meek and like the lay down and love your enemy. Those are the violent ones. Okay, all right.
Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You call Donald Trump.
The significance of that.
Call
the
Donald
significance
Trump,
of the passage of time.
He's misguided. You say now
he's unstable. He is unstable. Right?
He's not
right
well.
After you just
say
went
he's
nuts.
mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room. And he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump is.
Joe Biden's not on the ballot, but he was on the ballot when he was democratically elected to be the Democratic nominee. Oh my God. We're all about democracy. I just got you. God. He's not on the ballot, and neither was I. It's Kamala Harris. We're all about joy here. We don't have to be elected. We get installed in. Because we're willing to do anything and everything to get elected. Love you, boo. I carry my hot sauce in my purse as well. What is happening? $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Why is it not going off? So, what the heck, dude? You can't get these. $20 super chat from Ringstein. World peace. Where's the love? Where is the love? Thank you so much for Ringstein. I appreciate you, my guy. I don't know. I love her talking about how unstable Donald Trump is, and then immediately going right into. After she went nuts about her, you just watched her go unraveled. God, do you ever get a tongue-tied situation? This is why people don't live stream. But this is why we live stream. It's real. It's authentic. It's honest. God. All right, let's keep watching.
Talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden.
George Clooney said
that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national security community, have all spoken out. Even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is unfit and dangerous and should never be president of the United States again, including his former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate.
Yeah, it wasn't because Pence sucked.
So that is a fact. That is a fact.
Madam Vice President.
That's enough.
2 more things. You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat.
She's ready for Joe Rogan.
The world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands. Okay? Yeah. This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles.
Donald Trump assassination attempt.
What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that.
Experts.
But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October,
whichever
month, several hours on each occasion that Iran posed a threat to Israel. I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack.
What was that?
Working with the heads of our military and doing what America must.
Do you see that patronizing voice? I love it. I was there. I was leading. What were you doing, Bret? You were golfing, probably. I'm over here working my freaking butt off.
To always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself, and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources.
Did you see that? Bret just looked over the side. I want you guys to pay attention. We're getting towards the end of the interview. Apparently, Kamala Harris's interns were waving and saying, "Stop it. It's enough. We're done with the interview," and which was cutting the interview short. So pay attention to Bret's eyes. She does have American blood on her hands. Her and Joe Biden, that Afghanistan pullout, come on.
To defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that
those proxies were getting funded by
my commitment to that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions.
Let's go back to Donald Trump, who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put Iran in check.
The estimates in billions.
It was during Donald Trump's
that
administration
go
that
the Iran regime
that we had an American military base that was attacked, where
like
American soldiers suffered.
I feel like this is like couples counseling. I just want to look at her and be like, okay, do we need to hold a ball? And whoever holds the ball, that's who can talk. Okay. And then I want you, Bret, when she finishes, I want you to summarize what you think you heard. This is what they need, a little couples counseling session. You guys are going to make it, though. You love each other, and I can see it. You're wearing the same color. Bret's leaning in for a kiss already.
Traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches, not to mention how Donald Trump has treated and talked about America's military and military service people, calling them suckers and losers,
Hamas,
has diminished the significance.
We're talking over each other. I apologize.
Well, I would like that we would have a conversation that is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important...
You can hear people moving around the back.
...contrast that is presented for folks to make a decision
and there are critics
that they feel...
who look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're rapping me very hard here.
Oh, God. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. He's being rapped so hard right now. Nobody can rap you harder than Kamala Harris. Yeah. They're rapping me hard, huh? God. I don't know where that came from, but I love it. I want to hear it one more time. How hard are they rapping you?
Presented for folks to make a decision
and there are critics
that they feel...
who look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're rapping me very hard here.
Oh,
I hope you got...
Rapping him so hard. Come on, dude. Who says that? Hey, they're rapping me hard right now.
To say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump, there are a lot of things.
There's more to say. I have much more to say.
There are a lot of things that people
I actually
want to learn
have
about
so much
you.
to say. I have so much to say. You won't let me talk. You won't let me get out my word salads, and it's really starting to make me mad. But Donald Trump is the one that's unhinged, not me. You're like, okay, man, relax. You're right. You're fine. You're not unhinged. He is. Please don't hit me.
Your policies, and that's why
I invite everyone to go to kamalaharris.com, and you will see that I have 80 pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them. And it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do
and that's why we
to
invited you here
our economy,
to see where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
I'm going to be the one with the last thing to say. I'm speaking. It's like, I'm breaking up with you. You're not breaking up with me. I'm breaking up with you. Oh, no. I know. I'm the one breaking up with you. You're like, okay. We're both breaking up with each other. No. I'm breaking up with you. Okay.
America's military and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
and
they're giving me a hard rap
Well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, man, we watched it. Holy crap, dude. Her career is done. She's done. There's no way she's going to win now. I think people are forgetting how insane most people are and how most people won't even watch that interview. But they should, because that was absolutely unhinged. So comprehensive, I can't explain them here. Yeah, exactly. Wow, what an interview.
Let's bring in our panel.
What a
McCallum,
freaking
anchor and
interview.
executive editor of The Story with Martha McCallum. Dana Perino, co-anchor of America's Newsroom.
Oh, now you're going to see where I got it from.
Viewers, all of this
contrast that is...
I just can't. What an interview, folks. We learned so much about her. I'll never forget how angry she got at us. It's about democracy. Donald Trump is the one unhinged. It's you. You're unhinged. Are you gonna be voting for Kamala Harris? Put in the chat, let me know if you're voting for her. And if you were voting for her, is Joy still there? Or has Joy been sucked out of the room? Kamala Harris wants a rematch. She said, I forgot my earpiece for the interview with Bret Baier. Yes, I made that. Jeez. And look, she's wearing an earpiece. If she would have just been wearing her earpiece, everything would have been fine, but no. She winged it. She winged it hard. Wait, what is this video? Somebody sent me this. Oh, Jake sent me this. This better be good. This better be not better than my video that I make of Kamala Harris and her accents. I love Kamala Harris's accents. I've always said on this show that Kamala Harris has given me permission to do my own accents. So if I can do a Hispanic accent, or if I want to do whatever accent I want, it's because of Kamala Harris. So don't get mad at me, get mad at her.
Who needs personality when you can switch who you are at the push of a button?
It's Sid, swish, Kamala. That's right.
Oh, hello, young lady. Quite a marvelous day, innit?
Why does she talk so
In
weird?
it.
Let me play with her.
Well, hey there, little nugget. I'm going to be the first black female president of the United States of America.
Man, this doll sucks.
Accent Switch Kamala can emulate any accent you like, as long as it grants her
Get
credibility.
A bonjour, tu aimes les croissants?
Merde américaine.
Guten Tag, Sie lieben ein Bratwurst, ufta, 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 da.
I am your mother. Sid, swish, Kamala. That's right.
But wait, there's more. All new Accent Switch Kamala comes with 2 bags of campaign money, a blind eye for illegal immigration, and her own multi-laugh 3000 generator. Laugh in every way possible.
Oh my God, oh my God.
Let Accent Switch Kamala turn your life into a complete circus.
When you give me more money, like Uncle Joey did.
Don't you worry, little man. The money's coming.
I don't understand.
Oh, excuse me, honey.
I meant to say the money is coming. I love ice cream, Kamala map.
It's Accent Switch Kamala and brand new Tampon Tim.
You know, my grandma always used to say, Kamala Janu, please wash your hands so we can eat our chicken masama.
Sid, swish, Kamala.
What? Who was that? Snickleak? That was amazing. How the actual fuck is this not trending? You know why. You know why it's not trending. You know why. We all know why. We're all honest human beings here. That was hilarious. Thank you so much, Jake, for sending me that. Guys, thank you so much for the super chats today, and thank you so much for watching that with me. Hope this hour was the greatest hour of your entire day. Remember, we go live in the morning and at night. Come hang out with us if you're new here. And if you don't mind dropping a like on the video or putting a comment below, it helps the algorithms out. I would greatly appreciate it. I seriously appreciate you guys for being here. That was a fun interview. Kamala Harris, absolutely unhinged. Let her talk. Let her keep the conversation going. I want her on Joe Rogan. I want her talking to more people because the more she talks, the more insane she is. But at the same time, there are so many people that have already voted. Like Jimmy Carter, who's somehow still alive, still voting. I'm confused. I don't know how that works. You're wheeling him in. Is he even writing in? Is he just voicing it in? How is Jimmy Carter voting? I don't know. But there are people that have already voted. So will it change anything? Who knows? Hey, thank you so much, Louis. Thanks so much, Junior. I appreciate you guys. Seriously, Ring Sting. And Robert, thank you so much for the super chats. It means a lot to me, supporting this show and helping me grow to make this a full-time career so we can go live all day long and have such a freaking party time. All right, guys. Let's get a little. This is the music that sums